Hello all, Ruckus here. Today on the agenda I've got some light tank action, specifically the Cruiser Mark IV of the new British medium line. But first up, yes, 75%! As you may know, I've been chasing that figure for so damn long now, and it's finally just ticked over. Well, it was temporarily ticked over and then I had some bad games and now I'm back to 74.98 or something. But still, very happy with that. Not claiming it's the highest. I know plenty of people with higher, but it's just such a nice round figure. I am super stoked to get there finally. With that gloat out of the way, let's get into it. This was my very first game in the Cruiser Mark IV, so it was more or less stock, but if you had a fully upgraded the Cruiser Mark III, you get the top engine in the 4 and the 40mm Pom Pom, which is as fun to fire as it is to say. It's a decent gun, you get 45mm pen, and unlike the Pom Pom on the Mark III, which is a single shot, and you have to mash the buttons basically to get shots off, the Pom Pom on the Mark IV is a dual shot, so it's Pom Pom, wait, Pom Pom, and it's a lot easier to aim your shots in and hit targets as long as they're close range. It's not an accurate gun over long distance. Light tanks in Blitz have got it pretty good, I think. It's not like on PC a year ago where your poor old Panzer Kampfwagen 38-ton NA was expected to scout in a tier 8 battle where 75% of the vehicles on the opposition could one-shot kill you. On Blitz they've got limited matchmaker, or at least most of them got limited matchmaker, where the worst you're going to see is the tier above you. And it's true, the maps aren't very big, you can't do traditional scouting, and there's no arty, thank God. But the fact that they're so mobile, so agile, it makes for fun gameplay, and the worst you're going to see in tier 4 is perhaps at the odd KV1 or the early VKs or derp hetzers. So many derp hetzers. Oh. But this is a great tank to drive. It's good fun, the games are quick, and it's just a pleasure to drive. As we cut back into the action here, check out this for RNG working in your favour. This kind of thing doesn't happen too often. Target the BT7 who is behind 2 layers of cover over there. The gun reloads and I fire off all the shots, even though for a part of that the gun was targeting the brick wall behind him or in front of him, and they all connected. That was lucky. So you can see the Mark IV excels at picking off targets who are half dead and distracted, and that is true for all autoloaders really. I don't know whether they intend to implement high tier autoloaders in Blitz, but if they do, I would highly recommend coming down to these lower tiers, buying into the UK line and just honing your autoloader skills with these easy tanks. I'll get into the skills of autoloaders later in the video, but 6 kills on my first game in this tank. You've got to be happy when that kind of thing happens. To the post-game stats, no pools medal because it's a low tier game, but some Top Gun and Sniper medals there. 800 damage, 22 from 22 direct hits, 16k profit, and Master Gunner 2. And look at that, 97 crew after 1 game, up from 75%, so with that times 3 that really helped, and enough XP to fully upgrade the vehicle. Next up, we've got a dual Cruiser 4 game. It's myself and Carrick, and this time I'm sporting the Mark 6 Bofors, the same damage, 45 per shot, with a bit extra pen, 63mm pen. And let's talk about a trap first that everyone falls into with their autoloading vehicles at some stage, and that is hanging around too long to unload your clip into someone. It's a tempting thing to do. You've got this massive gun with huge damage output. If you could just unload all those shells, but in doing so you spend too long in the open, and that subjects you to return fire, and that's exactly what happens here. Try to get that second clip away, and that gives the cruisers on the opposition side enough time to respond and to wail on me. Some backup, Carrick to my right, plenty behind me. Stick my head out to have a look here, and look out, a yellowing stock T1. Why is he out here? I have no idea. He's on fire, done for. Still targets on that ridge line in the bushes. So we move to a hold down position. Spot them. T-18 and 2 cruisers. All 4 shots go into the cruiser 4. Repair that gun damage, and this is some good demonstrating. So what are the key skills to learn with auto-loading vehicles? Well, first is your reload. As you can see on this cruiser 4 with the Pom Pom, it's not super important. You usually fire both pairs of shots off, but if it was like a single shot auto-loader with 4 shells and you only fired 2, you'd want to make sure that you reloaded when you felt you were safe to do so, and make sure you went into the next fight with a full clip. As we polish off that SU-76 to win the game. And of course to reload in Blitz you just reselect the ammunition type. You could just expend the clip into the ground, but that would waste money, especially if you were firing premium ammunition, so reload after every engagement if you do not have a full clip. 1k damage on that game, 23 from 26, not a bad little profit for a tier 3, and Confederate. For the third and final match, again we're on 4 to spare, and again we're on the same side. I just kept getting this in rotation. And again I'm going to use the same tactic. Head to the right, out of the field, near the cap, and use that hill to spot and control this side of the map. The other major skill to learn when you play autoloaders is about timing your attacks. You're very weak, very vulnerable on the reload, and very strong for a short period on your clip expenditure. As I crest that hill again for almost too long, almost took some fire there. So what I mean by that is staying hidden until you are ready, completely ready to fire, and if possible coming at an enemy from an area where they do not expect it, so that it takes them longer to react and you've got more of a chance of firing off everything into them. So as I target that cruiser on the far side who is hull down, you can see the weakness of the Pom Pom. The first shot is generally accurate, but the second shot is wild. It goes anywhere. 1 from 4 there. I've got some TDs off to my left I have to keep an eye on. The cruiser and the PZ in the valley there are too low to target me, so free to engage the Marder and the tier 2 Jag Panzer. That one's looking my way. Finish this guy off. Turn my attention back to the cruiser who's out in the open. Tank has good gun depression. It's good fighting on hills. It was nicely done, even though no one was targeting me. PZ in the valley takes out my T-46 backup. Checking behind me. Not looking my way. Free to unload again. Nice little ammo rack there. And now there's just the medium, the M2 with the howitzer, which you gotta be careful with. And done. And I will leave you guys with the post-game stats as usual. I'm off to Sydney for a wedding this weekend, so my next episode will be likely late next week. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you soon. Peace.